Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Game 3 between Spirit 8 and Torn But Whole. It's game 3, final game of the night. It is 1-1 apiece if you've been keeping count at home, because I know some of our people in our community do struggle with the maths, so they do what they can.
Yes, so we are going to be going into game 3. I gotta say, this has been a definite exciting series so far. And of course, both of these teams definitely want to try and make it into playoffs, so they'll take every win they can get. We can see already multiple bans have been going down, targeted on the top side of the map, jungle and top. Darius, Cho'Gath, Zac, and Warwick are now off the table already. Kassadin being banned away as well. I guess they wanted to go for the very safe first pick Orianna. They didn't want to give Miss Tilton that free laning phase, basically, because with the Teamwork Kassadin, definitely not the worst laning phase in the world anymore. And
the issue is, we're about to see why you don't first pick Orianna. Whatever they pick here. Alright. Again, Cyber to God makes a liar out of me, because that is not what you're supposed to pick there. If your
unless it's
opponent,
a mid-belt fight.
If your opponent first picks Orianna while Maokai, Zac, Sejuani, Caitlyn...
Zac is not open.
Alright, so anyway, Maokai, Sejuani, Caitlyn...
They just blind picked Hecarim and Malphite. They've got to be trolling.
They just gave away their top side of the map.
Yeah, that is some of the most counterable stuff I've ever seen. Fiora is still open.
I don't know if I go Fiora just because of that level 6. If you don't riposte perfectly, you die.
Dude, it's Fiora and a Malphite. Come on. I see no way that Fiora can lose lane against the Malphite. You have to go out of your way for that.
We'll just wait and see. Okay, LoveDi, I don't think Disabled will pick the Fiora. The Gragas, though, is a good pick. It's going to set up so many plays pretty much across the map. Gragas is the arguably #1 early game ganker at the moment, just due to tank meta being in, so Lee Sin's not as useful.
Please tell me that's a placeholder.
No, the way tonight has been going, LoveDi, it's Garen, Malphite, top.
No, we're supposed to be an Elder League.
We're supposed to be professionals, damn it. Gallia, though, something that we've actually not seen.
Garen is Fiora. It is a placeholder pick. And Gallia's been locked in. Oh my god, this is the least damage composition I've ever seen. Ow. Galio, Malphite, and Hecarim as their huge front line. They could just pick up a Tom Kenshin and Kog'Maw now, put all their eggs in one basket, and be like, well, you know, we're really gonna hope he doesn't die.
Yeah, Loose Cannon, though, has been getting caught a lot, which is why they've been partnering him with that Soraka.
However, Tristana's still open.
If I'm disabled right now, I just ban Soraka. I am not dealing with that champion. Mimikyu has played it 2 games in a row now to pretty good effect. Just ban that garbage away. Force Mimikyu onto something else.
I think that would be a fantastic adaptation if they do ban away the Soraka and just force them onto a 4th tank. Maybe pick something like Vayne as well for Dathex.
Logistically, if you do ban away the Soraka here, though, they still pick up the Lulu for Mimikyu.
Right, but Lulu is not nearly as effective with all these tanks. I would like to see the Tristana come out. Tristana, Tom Kench, finish out this composition, and just play scale up. Let the Galio build a little more damage heavy. We've seen more and more Galios as of late build at least the Rod of Ages, if not more AP. They can go Rod of Ages, Banshees, and still deal a decent amount of damage. Yep, they do ban away the Soraka, which means both of these teams now I really have to see what they decide for these bot lanes. Really going to be interesting the pick order they go with as well. If they pick the support now, you're right. Okay, so they do want to get that ADC for the last pick.
That's actually crazy interesting.
Soft disengage.
Yeah, it does exactly what they kind of want to do, but it's interesting in the sense that you leave the Tristana for the other team, who now has 2 crazy high damage late game AD threats in the Fiora and the Tristana, which, to be fair, you can be like, lol, Malphite. But
Low mouth fight. I'm still gonna be like low mouth fight.
Yeah, but like now you have Tristana Lulu facing off against Nami something. You lose that lane unless you pick no one. You don't win this lane with the Nami.
Kog'Maw. That's what I want to see. Ah, yes, good old Aatrox pick. All right, so that Garen is going to be a placeholder for Aatrox. Garen. Oh God, that's not what I meant to say. It's not a placeholder for Aatrox. Garen is a placeholder for Fiora. Aatrox is a placeholder for something. I'm assuming it's a Kog'Maw placeholder. Aatrox is Twitch. Yeah, Aatrox is actually going to be a placeholder for Twitch, which I'm a little surprised by because, yes, he's really strong scaling into the game, but playing something like Twitch into that team composition, it's basically going to be an uphill battle. The all-in for both bottom lanes is decently strong. Of course, Lulu is going to amplify that damage onto Tristana, and it's to get both the picks on a hit plus the attack speed buff. That's going to be huge amounts of damage, but at the same time, empowering the autos with Nami onto Twitch means that he's going to be able to get multiple autos off that slight slow, helps him get the 6 stacks onto the enemies as well. Really, these are going to be pretty volatile in the bot lane. A lot of trading back and forth I expect to be happening.
It's another game. It's another game of 2 drastically different AD carry builds as well. We're gonna have Tristana go the Energizer build, where we get IE, static, RFC.
Are we? So do we see a Blade of the Ruin King rush from the Tristana?
Mathematically,
to match
no.
the Twitch?
Like you really shouldn't, just because it hampers your scaling so hard. You spike a bit faster early, but then at that point, where do you go? You probably pick up the static next, but if you go Bork, static, RFC. Yes, you do get some pretty good wave clear, but your damage
God, no, that's
so
not what I
low.
meant. Oh, that is not what I meant. I complained about that yesterday for a good hour, trust me. Double Zeal and Blade of the Ruin King, I think, is one of the most terrible builds you can build on an ADC. So no, that's not what I was saying at all. I mean,
Diathex, he's the guy that didn't buy any items on Caitlyn and back to like 8 minutes for a BF sword.
I just look at the composition though. Blade of the Ruin King would do fantastic into that team composition. That's a ton of health scaling that you can see. So you go Blade of the Ruin King into maybe Hurricane or Shiv, even a Last Whisper third item, and then you get your IE done. That's some decent tank shredding that you're going to be able to get out, empowered by what I would assume to be Ardent Sensor on the Lulu. That is a ton of damage you'll be able to dish out in the tank busting meta. Honestly, I would like to see, but you know, we never know. Dathex is a little bit of a wild card in of itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the math numbers, I do think that the best scaling, the best logical choice is that IE Energizer Bunny build for the Tristana. It gives you the wave clear. Your Twitch is gonna go Bork Hurricane. There's almost no question there. Yes, he can do the Energizer build that does very well coming out of stealth, and you can just instantly pop people. But into Trist Lulu, he's gonna have some sustain issues, even with that Nami. So he's almost guaranteed to go that Bork Hurricane. So he's gonna spike a bit quicker because you can go all in on the Cutlass. If you get Twitch onto the Cutlass first item, Trist is gonna be at about a BF sword, and at the level 5, level 6-ish point, you can have Nami tidal wave from a bush, have Twitch sneak up, pop the Cutlass, try and interrupt the rocket jump from Trist with either the tidal wave or the bubble, and at that point you should possibly get a kill or all summoners out of the opposing bot lane. So it's going to be interesting to see that interaction come out, but having seen loose cannons play up to this point, I don't think that happens. I think that Diathex, Maggie, they own this lane, they have the 2 better picks. It's going to be an extremely hard game for loose cannon Mimikyu, unless Astra spends a lot of time in this bottom lane. Hecarim does have the tools to get in and put a lot of hurt in, especially once he starts getting an item or 2. And then having that, Cyber teleport coming in, level 6, maybe the Galio, Hero's Entrance, all of these things onto like the hidden Twitch or the Astra's Hecarim. I'm struggling with the Hecarim Ultimate. Onslaught of Shadows. Like, they have the tools to get the Galio in, which is always a question mark for a lot of teams. But that's a lot you're burning bot side when you need to keep Cyber in the game.
Right. I mean, as well, like, throughout this series, we've seen Maggie Choose play. She's very conservative with the supporting that she's been doing, and I do fully expect her to be able to fend off a lot of the aggression we might see early on. You did say what the optimal kind of trading pattern would be on the side of Spirit 8, but I don't think they're going to be able to get it. We've seen Maggie Chu manage to make a couple clutch plays already. She'll definitely manage to polymorph the Twitch if they try to go for any shenanigans early on. Really, I do expect to see both junglers put their focus on the top side of the map. It's very volatile. Of course, Malphite is supposed to lose this lane, but you never really know in lower tier leagues like this. No offense. No flame.
LoveDi, all of these players are higher ranked than you.
No, they're not. Well, I mean, okay. I'm not going to get into that right now. But anyway, overall, Fiora, in theory, is supposed to be able to win this. But we did see how that went astray last game with the Malphite managing to out-trade the Jarvan up to a point. So we've seen Cyber, he performed last game. He managed to show that, you know, even though he had one bad game on a tank, he can still be the frontline that his team needs. Now, it's just a matter of cleaning up your play. Also, we haven't talked whatsoever about the mid lane matchup. Galio versus Orianna, not something we see too often. Galio mid did have that short stint for a little while in the mid lane, has fallen out of favor slightly, and especially in a composition like this, you don't expect to see a Galio mid, but we're going to have to see how he builds. Does he go for the traditional tank build with just the Dorans and Darkseal to supplement the AP ratios? Or does he go a little more damage heavy, gets the Rod of Ages, the Banshee's Veil that we've seen other mid laners opt in for?
It's going to be an interesting match because, you know, when you talk about what the Galio is going to bring, what kind of build we're going to be seeing, if we do get the tank Galio, which is, I keep saying the word mathematically, but it's what we're going for. It's the correct build because it's, you know, you still survive, you still do some amounts of damage, but realistically, you're just sticking with the Twitch as a damage source who's only, you know, is a low range carry except for the spray and pray. But, you know, once that's gone, he's very low range, really hoping to get as many procs up the Hurricane, hoping to not get focused. And it's when you have a Gragas, when you have an Orianna, when you have Lulu, when you have all these picks that can kill him really quickly, it's rough. And it's going to be rough if he can't, you know, kill someone with that opening spray, right?
Right. And there's definitely a lot more squishy targets for the Twitch to choose from as well. Of course, the Fiora is not traditionally tanky. She's most likely going to get the Death Dance. I mean, I am the biggest fanboy of buying Death Dance on anything that can put their hands on it, really, because I've said this before, if you're good enough and if you manage to position yourself correctly, that 30% bleed becomes 30% damage reduction, and that is huge. But at the same time, like we mentioned, the Twitch, he's basically an assassin once he gets a few items under his belt, and with no real traditional frontline, I mean, we do have the Gragas, but he's not nearly as tanky as something like a Maokai or Cho'Gath would be in the meta. We could potentially see this Twitch snowball and really start to shred targets if he gets ahead early on.
Yeah, and so say Loose Cannon does, you know, get a double kill in the bottom lane pre 10 minutes. He backs with like 1,600 gold. There is a world where I can see them getting the BF sword and going for that Infinity Edge into the Energizer build, because you can just press your advantage so much harder at that point than if you go Cutlass, that, you know, once you get that 2-item spike, if you do go IE Static Shiv, that's the point you can really start assassinating people. The tankiest member of this, you know, I messed up the team names, my bad. It is TBW is on the blue side. I did mess that up, guys. I apologize.
They are also 1-1, so this is the final game of the best-of-3 series. Whoever manages to win this game is going to be taking home all the points. We do go by head-to-head and overall series ratings rather than games and points like the new LCS does use. So we can see some leashes coming in from both sides now. They're both just going to go for very standard, very safe bottom lane buff starts. We can see that the supports do stay a bit longer to give a little bit of extra leashing.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Both junglers, they're going to start on that bottom side. I don't really expect either of them to gank top side, though. I mentioned that CyberGod is going to need some help, and you touched on it a little bit yourself. But I don't think, just from previous experience watching, the 2 games up to this point, I don't think it's going to be a real priority for these junglers. I think they're going to focus on this mid lane matchup or even on the bot side.
Yeah, I do want to see both junglers at least poke their heads around and maintain some vision because really the Fiora does want to get snowballing. You can expect her to be aggressive all throughout this lane. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they do manage to get the shove early on. They get the level 2 first on the side of TBW. To see the jungle paths for both of these junglers as well. Hecarim has completely skipped his Gromp, while Gragas has gone to his blue buff for his 3rd camp, and he's already invading the top side jungle. He's pinging that he's on the way. We're going to want to take a look at this invade. Might be going on right now. Yeah, he's spotted on a ward. Malphite's already walking down. Fiora right behind him. Malphite's only level 2 as well.
Goes in, gets the smite.
Nice steal.
Tim gets the buff, but now he's surrounded by
Gragas
3
is here
members.
first,
Idle Brand coming in, gets the taunt, gets the knockup. Misty's doing tons of work. Tim's forced to flash away, but Astrus is actually going to give up first blood. Disabled picks that up on the Fiora. Now CyberGod is going to go down as well. That is 2 kills being picked up for the TBW squad.
Yeah, they do manage to arrive first, but Spirit 8 just doesn't have the early game impact that something like a Fiora and Orianna is going to have. I mean, they burned the taunt really early on the Galio as well, only managed to grab the Gragas, and he was already in the middle of 3 people. Really no effect coming out of that. Fiora does manage to follow very quickly as well, and she winds up picking up the blue buff for herself. That's going to be a huge problem. Oh, we got a gank in the mid lane too.
Gank. Idol of Duran gets the Courage of Colossus shield, but Misty is gonna get body blocked on that Judgment Punch and is gonna go down for another kill in that mid lane. Magic didn't have the most spectacular performance on the Orianna game 1, but starting 2-0-1 pre-5 minutes, you can't really ask for much more.
And we can see both the teleports have already been burned on the side of Spirit 8. Since both solo lanes have already died. Oh no, NA Canyon. Since both solo lanes have already died, they felt the need to go and use those teleports to even just catch up to the XP in the mid lane. Orianna's already got her lost chapter completed. We're fighting in the top side.
Cyber, he's doing what he can, but that blue buff is making sure that these Fiora Qs are off cooldown whenever.
But look at the potions. There's no more corrupting potion stacks on the side of Fiora, but he's got plenty of pots. As long as he can keep the Fiora kind of baited into this lane and not have her back, he might actually be able to cheese out a kill here.
So all of the corrupting potions were actually gone since that invade onto the red buff. When they came back to lane, all of them were gone actually.
So he is going to just back away. Malphite's not going to be able to stop that, and she's going to go back to base. What's she going for?
It is nice seeing the players stop being so greedy. You mentioned it, game 1, game 2, the greed where they're just keeping in the lane, keeping pushing, and getting penalized for it. Fiora recognizes she's ahead, takes that back, goes for the Vamp Scepter so that can stay healthy, can poke out this Malphite who didn't go the Corrupting Potion this time, and I mentioned this earlier, you spend a lot of gold on potions. Going the Cloth 4 start, that's 200 golden potions right there. Back to pick up another Cloth 4. That's another 200 potions, $200 in potions. So you're at 400 gold.
Come on, dude. It's not a 1-to-1 currency rate. Do you even know Valorant economy?
I failed that course. Economics was not my forte, if you will. Doctors don't actually care about money because we make so much of it. But
Getting back into the game, though,
Yeah,
you,
so
you do have a very good point. That is a ton of gold sink for the Malphite into the potions. And, of course, very smart buy. We did see initially the Fiora had bought a Tiamat. She had actually refunded it, decided to go for the Vamp Scepter instead. I do like that. I agree with you. Very smart decision, because it means she's not going to be spending nearly as much on corrupting potions. So even though she took a bad trade right there, she can always just auto a few more times, get some healing from it. Plus she still has the Reju bead for the Tiamat recipe, meaning she should be able to regen quite nicely and overall out-sustain this lane in the long run.
So one thing that I'm a little disappointed in, and we're going to see a bit of a trade here in the bottom lane as I start to talk, doesn't amount to much. But you saw how big that top wave of minion was. It was probably like 4 waves worth of caster minions, and yet where's the jungler for Spirit 8? In the bottom side of the map, ignoring that top lane. You know, yes, Cyber's not level 6, but it's pretty close. They could have gotten something cheeky there.
And now there's level 6 for the Fiora already. She uses the riposte just for a slow.
Yeah, doesn't have to use it to block the unstoppable just yet, so can just try to get, you know, a positional advantage there. And in the mid lane, I'm curious to see how this is going to continue going. Misty going down 0-1, keeping up in farm though, which is good. You know, Galio's a very good farmer and is going to need to be at this point.
Right, he's going to be back again for his... Oh, sorry. He's going to back again for his second back this game. I expect to see a Dark Seal buy, most likely, unless he doesn't have the funds for it. We have a dive being set up, but he's already level 6.
Grand Challenge goes down. Perfect riposte coming in. Disabled gets the Grand Challenge proc off, gets the heal, gets out. Asterisk now showing up. Does he fancy a fight? He is level 6, has the Onslaught of Shadows, but not feeling frisky today. Is just going to back off. Will this be first tower?
It probably will be. Malphite still doesn't have the teleport available. Oh,
Hero's entrance.
The Hero's entrance
Is available. Jump
going
in.
for it. They're
Hero's
going for it.
Entrance is going to land on the 2. Asterisk gets the Onslaught of Shadows. Tim is going to go down. Idle Duran gets the taunt. Justice punches the double kill. Asterisk survives. Asterisk takes the kills. And he says hello, goodbye, and thank you for the gold.
Fantastic layering of CC from Asterisk and Mistleton. They managed to layer the CC in a way. They knew that that heroic entrance is the most projected CC coming out. They knew the riposte would be coming down for that. So they managed to position themselves in a way they don't get stunned by the riposte, and then they layered their CC perfectly. They managed to get out with that 2-for-0 trade. Very nicely played, and they even saved the first brick tower going down.
And that actually is pretty huge if you're Asterisk. You know, didn't have the best start, did go down early, is on a very expensive champion, you know, has to get that Trinity Force, has to get a lot of gold in the bank. Being able to pick up a double kill and still survive on the back end, it accelerates you a little bit, and I'm a little disappointed he spent it into Cinderhulk.
Right, I noticed he still decided to buy the Cinderhulk. He might have felt he's a little far behind to start building the Triforce this early on. But you're right, that is definitely going to delay his spikes unless he's going for a more traditional tank build. I know that Yonkos has actually gone Righteous Glory second on Hecarim in the past. I mean, then again, he is like the OG Righteous Glory lover, so who knows. Bubble's going to land. Galio's coming down.
After Bubble. Hero's entrance not available just yet, though, so they are.
And he did get spotted on several wards. There's definitely a lot of lit up spots by this TBW in this bottom side river. He did pass by a control ward and a regular ward on the way. A bit more trading. Oh, that's actually a 2-level lead for the Fiora, despite getting that double kill early on. None of that did go over to Cyber.
Ooh, body slam in, explosive cast out, Grand Challenge goes down, follows in, flashes in, disabled. Are you alive, buddy? You are for now. Buster Shot keeps Asterisk away from his lovely support. Onslaught
the Fear does not land on the Lulu.
The Fear, Wild Growth keeps him in, but another bubble lands on a Dithex. Flashes galore being popped in that bottom lane. Shockwave still being held in that mid lane, but forcing Cyber to get off means that first brick is nigh.
Might still go for another dive. No, they're just going to try and trade towers. I would have liked to see the Galio finish off the wave mid and then teleport to cover for that lane. They knew that had been a ton that had been burned by the Gragas and the Fiora, but he instead holds onto his teleport. That's the kind of pressure play that can definitely shift the game in one team's favor. That's a ton of gold that's going to be going over to the Fiora, and we saw the Gragas actually body slam out last moment. I believe that's full tower gold going over to the Fiora. That's going to be huge. She's actually already got her Ravenous Hydra completed as well. That's going to be a big problem coming into the later parts of the game. We can see just the huge item disparity already in the top lane. Not even one completed item yet for the Malphite.
One of the biggest issues there is, you know, as this gank starts coming in, I wanted to talk about it, but I took a look at the gold. There's like a 2k gold lead in favor of disabled, and a lot of that is the CS score, 91 to 44.
Oh, he's got no tower there.
Tower is there, and Unstoppable's not available just yet. And you can see Tim on the minimap just chilling in that top side, wants to keep that Fiora ahead, wants to keep punishing that as hard as possible. And actually, Tim takes it out again. Tim is making a return game to the top side, but Tidal Wave comes in. Mimikyu forced to heal up. Tim hasn't shown in the top side yet. There's the riposte. Grand Challenge goes down. Body Slam is all you need. That is another kill. That makes 3.
And Unstoppable, of course, literally comes back up as that happens, so he had no chance of being able to get out.
Into Polymorph, into Wild Growth, Loose Cannon, though. He pops the Rat-a-tat-tat. Not what it's called anymore, but in the top side, Misty shows up, trying to do exactly what you said and clear these waves, but he's all by himself.
Tim tries the body
get out. Away, Idol of Duran not ready. There it is. No shield available, though. Is going to get the trade kill. Disabled will go down in the end, so it's a 1-for-1. But all of these plays are so defensive, so reactive. What can Spirit 8 do in a situation like this?
They just have to hope they can continue to scale up. They did pick really an ultra scaling composition that's going to have to be an Onslaught, or not. He just goes down and he just donates a blue buff over. I want to talk about this as well. Astrus had opted to go for the blue buff and take it for himself instead of giving it over to his mid laner. That's not typically something you'll see. Maybe he didn't have confidence in the Galio, or the Galio just kind of shooed him away, told him to take it himself. I don't know, but now that's a blue buff going over for free to the Orianna. Not looking good so far. Item spikes are already coming in for the mid and top lane of TBW. They've got the Nomicon and they've got the Ravenous Hydra complete. They're going to be very scary coming into this very soon-to-be first Dragon take, I expect.
And you mentioned item breakpoints, you know, the Morello and the Ravenous. We talked about this Twitch build that we were going to be seeing. I said that it was 100% the Bork Hurricane unless he gets ahead. And Loose Cannon decided to go the Energizer build. Picked up that BF sword, has the parts of a Zeal. He's down in CS and not ahead in kills, and his team's down a tower. But
he's coming in from the Malphite. Looks like Fiora's opting into this fight.
And he popped 4. He gets the riposte. He gets the kill. What is that? This is elderly.
Not yet either.
Cyber
is Galio going to come up for the heroic entrance?
Heroic entrance is available, but he's busy in the mid lane losing his tower. Cyber to God gonna get engaged upon. Cooldowns are there for disabled. He's able to get in, get out, picks up another kill. And then 2 more towers go down in the favor of TBW. Mid and bottom lane tower. Dragon is the ping. This top lane tower, unless... no, it's going down. There's no unless here.
Yeah, this is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. This Fiora is going to continue to scale up and become even more of a problem, and neither solo lane is going to be strong enough to handle this on their own. This is Galio.
Disabled though, getting jumped on.
That might be a kill in return.
Oh, nope. Forced to flash away, dodges the fear, but in the end, he gets punched in the face. Misty's had enough of his roaming capabilities. Just gonna end it right there. But 6-3-1 in this Fiora. You said that picking the early Malphite would lead to this. Do you feel justified yet?
I'm really wondering what the idea was behind the champion select. Picking up the Malphite and the Hecarim blind first Bays really, it was just completely unforced. You're giving away all of your early plans, and all it was done for was to wind up picking up Galio in second rotation, and then Nami and Twitch. These aren't exactly priority picks you want to hold on to. These aren't some surprise picks that are going to completely catch the rest of the map off guard. Picking up this Malphite has proven to be a huge mistake.
So
this early on in the
I've
draft.
said it before, you know, in solo queue, on streams, you know, in videos before. Meta picks are meta for a reason, right? Like that's a fact. You can't really deny that. Looking for the flash idol. Just a bit outside. Now Tim says hello. Courage of the Colossus is going to connect. Shockwave only going to land on a Mimikyu, but it does so much damage. The heal comes in. Magichu has enough of that, however. And a huge explosive cast puts Loose Cannon in the middle of the fight. But teammates have shown up for Spirit 8. They're able to get a 3-man turnaround. Dithex gets the Buster Shot plus Rocket Jump away. Can he continue the run away? Forced to flash from the Idol of Durand, but in the end, it's a 3 for 2. Disabled is late to the fight, and they are able to disengage.
They do manage to get the better of that fight despite the early losses they had because they had the rest of the team collapse in time. Very nice timing. Some good teamwork means that they will at least be able to get something back for it, and it looks like they're not done yet. Yours diving in while Heckram's diving her ADC.
Oof. I thought the CC was there. Turns out I'm a doofus because Disabled is able to get in, kill the Galleon, and get out. Blocks 2, not 1, but 2 CCs with the Repose, but it doesn't mean much. He gets the Onslaught of Shadows, and in a 1v3, even Fiora struggles. Is going to go down in the end, but the sacrifice keeps Dithex alive.
Yeah, again, a little bit of a regression. We've seen that all throughout this series. Both teams like to push a little too hard once they get advantages, and another punish for it. That's the second time Fiora's been caught out of position, going a little too far forward.
Maggie,
he is definitely the strongest.
Gets the blast cone. Maggie had some fancy feet there. Got the blast cone. You know, dodged out on Astrus there.
She's still definitely the strongest member on the map right now, but that doesn't mean she's invincible. She definitely has to wait for more items before she can really go for really aggressive plays like that. Rift Herald might be going down. Malphite doesn't have TP. He's going to have to back now.
We saw this in a sticky situation last time for TBW. They do secure it again this time, though. There's actually S8 that had the unfortunate Herald play last game. But I'm sure they would prefer it if we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we'll move on to greener pastures. Now going back into the... Both teams are itching to clear away. Just kidding.
In flash body slam, though. The sombrero from Magic, but they get the kill anyway. They're going to continue pushing on this tower with just Misty for a wave clear. Justice Punch does connect. Gets the 2-man idol of Durand. The kill is saved on the Magichu. Survives for now. Justice Punch in, Justice Punch out. He's going all over the place. But in the...
Fiora's on the side, and they still have the Righteous Glory available.
Ooh, Idol of Durand gets riposted. Oh, that was disgusting damage. Here comes Cyber God coming in. Hero's Engine's gonna land only onto Disabled, but Idol of Durand cannot be finished. They throw down the gauntlet, they get the charge, they get the heals, and they're gonna keep pushing. Disabled is doing so much damage. What do you even do in this situation? Flash in, gets the kill, Spray and Pray gets popped, but TSM Loose Cannon simply does not have the damage. The Rift Herald is being popped on the inhibitor tower. They have Tristana Fiora.
This just reminds me of that one SKT clip against OMG where they just kept pushing mid because they kept getting picks. They managed to go from the what should have just been a little bit of poke in the inner tower to a full ace, then a mid inhibitor. Now they're getting top inhibitor as well. This game's being blown wide open 20 minutes into the game. That gold lead has just ballooned to double its size in a matter of a minute. And
you mentioned it last game. We had the Flame Horizon in the top lane from Disabled. We're 10 CS. No, what's my math?
Yeah,
we're 10 CS. I was like doubling 85. I was like 85 plus 85. It's 170. So yeah, we got the Flame Horizon, and I was like, wait, that's not how it works. There's actual numbers involved here. But yeah, I mean, even chat saying it, no Thornmail on the Malphite. And
Oh, we don't talk to the Twitch analysts.
well, I'm going to agree with this one, because if you look at what Thornmail builds out of and what it actually gives you, it gives you a Reflect, it gives you Grievous Wounds, and it gives you Armor. And Sunfire Cape is probably the worst tank build at the moment. Maybe
Oh
you
god,
forced
that
a
flash is not going to
but
save you.
you can't get away. He goes down. Hero's Entrance just kind of sealed his fate. Does get the Unstoppable over the wall. That's close. Not quite enough damage to go down, but it was
They're
close.
going to be walking down for that second Drake now. Fiora is still pushing the top side.
Yeah. And so while it is just a cloud, it is probably gonna not matter that much. They're able to pick this up. I would assume they're gonna
He should
push
just
down
back
the
away.
bot lane,
There's no reason to be this far forward.
except to just do this.
Wow.
Does get the one kill, throws out the repose, trying to do as
He's going to
much
be able to
as
get
possible.
out. Yeah.
And just hops over the wall. Justice Punch doesn't connect, finds a control ward for his troubles as well. And this is the worst feeling as a League of Legends player when you know that they have the, you know, the AD carry, the melee AD carry, because it's just, there's a specific class there that's just shredding you and wrecking you, and there's just nothing you can seem to do about it. You bring 4 members top, and he still gets away, and it's like, look at that. What do you, as a player, what do you do? 2-man
Oh my
Shockwave seals the
goodness.
game.
This is the end.
Yeah, this
They're
is
just
going to be
try to
game.
end now.
Explosive Cask. Misty can't get out, is going to go down. The only one left alive is Asterisk, has his Onslaught of Shadows, but their
Super minions are coming in through the mid lane. They're just going to try to end now. 23 minutes in.
Yeah, 15 seconds on the next member alive. Onslaught of Shadows in, Riposte comes out, Body Slam in. They are going to kill Asterisk. There's the ace. Super Minions getting walked in by the Tristana. That's going to be game 3 in a dominating fashion, for lack of a better word.
Well, it was a hard-fought series, but in the end, it seems that just one team had better endurance in a best-of-3. That's something that needs to be kept in mind as well.
Woo!
Normally, people will take it for
That
granted.
Orianna
Well, you
team.
know, we're going to have a few more kills. Got to pad the KDA.
Loose Cannon is
Very
going to go
valiant
down.
effort. I do commend Spirit 8 for still trying to defend to the very end, not trying to hold on to their last few KDAs, but in the end, it's not going to matter. But this is something that needs to be kept in mind. It's taken for granted in the pros because people assume it's not that big a deal. But when you're playing these 3-game-long best-of-3s, and then in playoffs, if it ever gets to best-of-5s, that's an actual endurance test. I guarantee you, anybody who can play 3 games in a row and play the same all 3 games is definitely not the norm. And we could see by the end of that, they definitely were slipping a little bit. They weren't nearly as clean, a couple mistakes, and definitely in the draft as well. They made the fatal flaw of picking their jungler and top lane way too early in the draft, basically handing over a free lane to the Fiora.
Yeah, and just counterpick City. I mean, you saw down the line, if you look at every pick out of Spirit 8, it's not a true meta pick. It's something that, like, Malphite is never going to see competitive play in his current state. It's just, the numbers are too poor. I know it's a safety pick, but like you were mentioning, it's his 9th most played champ. You can't find a better pick for Cyber there? Blind even? Like...
Right, I mean, of course Diana was banned away all 3 games, and that would be the comfort pick for Cyber, and he did do a decent job on the Malphite in the second game, but I would have really liked, especially considering they were willing to pick the Galio in the mid lane. Traditionally, Galio has been picked in competitive when you have both a strong carry in the bot lane and a carry in the top lane. When you wind up picking the Malphite first rotation, picking the Galio as well means that no matter how many people you send to the top lane, it's going to be a struggle getting rid of this Fiora.
Yeah, and once the Fiora gets going, they simply didn't have the tools to
Oh, wait.
kick it back.
Diana was available that last game. I assumed it was banned away. No. Soraka, Warwick, and Kassadin were banned first rotation, and then... Or Zach... Was it Zach Jam? Anyway, they didn't ban Diana last game. Wow. Now that is really strange because we saw it banned away the first 2 games. We saw Cyber relegated to the tanks, but when he had his champion open, overall, it was just a really questionable draft. I'm not quite sure what they wanted. They didn't even really have the hyper carry scaling composition. When you pick 3 tanks that first phase of the pick ban, and then you pick a Twitch who, of course, has a good late game, but it's not the level of Vayne, Dogma, of even a Tristana. It's really strange exactly what their win condition might have been. In the end, though, it seems like they lost in the draft, and it all went downhill from there.
Yeah, unfortunately, these things do kind of happen. But like you said, it was a hard-fought series. They did take it to 3 games, which after Game 1, and especially after Game 3, you might be questioning a little bit. But regardless of the fact, they did win Game 2. They took it all the way. Hard-fought by both teams. The numbers don't matter because it's all about the W. But again, that is all for us tonight. Doctor and LoveDi are going to be signing off today. I will be back tomorrow. LoveDi, unfortunately, will not. Probably, possibly. We'll never know.
1% chance I'm back.
1%.
So basically the same chance of Team Liquid of winning a game.
You shut your mouth. They beat P1 today.
Yeah, you know, they go 2-0 this week, but that's just because Steve had his bank account.
Memes. But again, that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. Make sure to check out our other leagues, Dragon on Friday and Phoenix on Sunday at 4 p.m., which means tomorrow, guys, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, we will be back with some more fantastic LEGO Legends waiting for you.
That means 1 o'clock on the Superior Coast.
East Coast, Beast Coast, LoveDi. I don't want to hear it, but I'm going to end it here because we could go on all night, and I don't want to. I want to go to bed. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time, and I hope you guys have a good night.
Show this dynamic, let's go. Yes, randa kika möde, musha bulo i.